Hey folks, SoloGamer here, and we're going to be starting a new game series, and this one's called Conquest of Planet Earth. And, of course, it's expansion, Conquest of Planet Earth, the Apocalypse expansion. These games are from Flying Frog Productions. And, as you know, I tend to like Flying Frog. I have most of their products. This one, though, was a little bit under the radar. Now, Invasion from Outer Space is probably their most underappreciated or under the radar type game. This one kind of goes to a close second. And this one is different from all the other style of games. As you can see, the artwork is different on this. This will not have the live action photo artwork. This will have more of a cartoony comic art drawn to it. But don't let that fool you. This game has theme galore. As a matter of fact, Flying Frog, you can say what you want about Flying Frog. But one thing that is consistent with all their games is every one of their games oozes theme. Theme. They get that better than anybody else. And I actually like the artwork for these games. And this game reminds you basically of Mars Attacks or those old 1950, 1960 B flying saucer movies you used to watch as a kid on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, or at least I did. I know I'm telling my age a little bit. Those old black and white ones most of the time. This feels like you're playing that right there. So it's Flying Frog. You know the components are going to be good. You know the theme's going to be great. One day we really need to have a serious debate as to which company is the better of the companies, Flying Frog or Fantasy Flight. I mean those to me are the top two. But that's for another day. So basically in this game you can play this competitive, cooperative, and you can play it solo. And if you get the expansion you can have up to 6 players. Now we're not going to do the competitive. We're going to play this cooperative, but we're going to play it solo. And we're going to change up a few things. I'm going to go over the rules, but you're going to see how we're going to play a little bit different. When you get these two sets, and plus if you order their 2 web exclusives, which I recommend doing because they're only $10 a piece, and you get like 10 cards and a new alien. You have 16 different aliens. So I'm going to have a little tournament where 4 aliens are going to play at a time, and the winner's going to advance to the next round, and then eventually there's going to be only one who has the conquest of planet Earth. So we're going to play a little different, but we are going to use the base cooperative rules. This here game right here, if you get this, I recommend getting the expansion. It's a little cheaper. You get a lot more cars, a lot more aliens, which you kind of would need because it doesn't seem that Flying Frog is going to support this, for at least for the time being. You know, they got their hands full right now with Shadows Over Brimstone. They just came out with The Last Night on Earth. Before that, they just came out with Fortune Glory. This last thing came out in 2012. So their hands are full right now, so they might not come out with anything for this time soon. So I saw, you know, and I really wasn't going to get this game, but, you know, I kept seeing on the internet all the good reviews for it and how fun it is and how it's just a B-movie romp fun type game. And so I decided to get it, and I'm glad I did. It's a very good game, and I enjoy it very much. And the replay value, you know, you got a different alien. Each alien plays differently, so it's great. But in this game, you are the aliens, and your job is to defeat them pesky human beings who just want to stop you from conquering their planet. Imagine that. Imagine the gall of the humans. And but it all comes across in this B-movie cheesy type fun way, which is excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this game up. I'm going to go over how I'm going to play a little bit differently, but it's still going to be the base competitive rules. And you'll see it's not that hard. This game is a little bit less complex than some of the other Flying Frog games. So, you know, it's quick, it's fun, it's easy to learn. My only one gripe about this is I have seen people complain about the game boards warping for the components on this game. Now, mine on the Apocalypse one, my 3 boards that came with this one, they were warped. I have not reported it. I'm not going to complain about it. This is the first time that I bought a Flying Frog product that something was wrong with it. So I'm just trying to work it on my own way to kind of unwarp them and everything like that. And it's working. So, but I have heard some complaints on that. So if you ever get a chance to buy it, you know, you just might want to take that in mind. Okay, that and it's because of this thick board stock. You know, usually that thick board stock is pretty beneficial, but in this case, if it sits around for a little bit, it'll warp. And apparently that was sitting around in this box for a little bit. But that's beside the point. We'll get to the game, and we're going to get it set up and get ready to go. So we'll pause it here. Okay, so as you see, I got the game board set up, and basically when you set the game up, you take one of these boards here, and you take the capital card, and on the back it has a historic monument, and you put that in the middle board right there. Now if you were going to play one player, you can put your one player board here. If you're playing two player, you can put two there. Well, you know, you can set it up any way you want, but in this case we're going to be playing 4 players. So you start out the game with your one board here, and then you take your board, your alien board, as you can see, and you put your little 4 alien markers in your landing zone. That's going to be your landing zone right there. And of course these guys are going to be the Trun, and they have a strength of 4 and intelligence of 3. Okay, so the object of the game is to basically move from space to space. Here you get so many action points, and every time you go to one of these locations, you're going to flip over a location card, and this, like here, would be the city. So you'd put that there, and you got to fight. Now this city is worth 3 terror points. Now the rules say that when you play, if you play a 1-player game, if you get 8 terror points, you win. If you're playing 2 players, it's 16. So it's basically 8 times the number of players. This card is worth 3 terror points. So you were to go here, you would have to, this is a resistance, so you'd have to do 3 different battles here in the city. So you would take your resistance card. Oh, Captain Fantastic, he's a pain in the butt. His strength is 6, and then plus he gains +1 strength for each alien at the location. Okay, so well, we're in the turn, and their strength is 4, so you have 4 strength per ship. So you 4, 8, 12, 16. So they have a strength of 16. He's got a strength of 6, +1 for each alien at the location, so he's got a strength of 10. So basically, then what would happen is you would take the red die for your aliens, the white die for the humans, and you would roll. Alright, so he rolled, he has a 10, +1 is 11. They have a 16 +4 is 20. You win that battle. So that's 1 resistance down, so we got to fight 2 more. And you keep basically doing that. Now, if you ever roll a 6 when you fight, no matter how strong he is and how weak you are, if you ever roll a 6, you automatically win. It's called a crushing victory. Same said for the humans. If they ever roll a 6, and you know, they get a crushing victory, no matter how stronger you are over them. So that's basically what your strength comes into. As you can see, these foam gill mages have a strength of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8. They're not as strong, but they have different abilities. And like the Turin has an intelligence of 3, the foam gill mages have an intelligence of 4. And you're saying, what's intelligence used for? Well, intelligence is your hand limit. That's how many event cards you get to have. So the Turin get to have 3 event cards every round. And sometimes, now you can play them anytime during your turn, and they're usually beneficial. But sometimes on these cards right here, as you can see, this one doesn't have it, but this one does have it. You have to spend 1 action point to play this card, while these you can use for free. And at the end of your turn, if you use any of your cards, you get to redraw and go back up to your hand limit. So he's always going to have a hand limit of 3. Well, these guys are always going to have a hand limit of 4, and they try to, and see, that can, while these guys may be physically stronger than these guys are always going to have more cards which can benefit them. And you're saying action points, well, what's action points? Well, in the cooperative mode, at the beginning of your turn, you roll 1 die. I rolled a 5, so I have 5 action points. An action point can be move 1. Okay, if I were to move all 4 of my ships, that's 4 action points. Okay, and then, you know, if I had 1 action point left over, I can spend that 1 action point playing that event card. Okay, now when you determine your action points, if you roll a 1, you get to get a menace token, which is one of these, and every alien starts the game with a menace token, and I get to roll again. If I rolled another 1, well, then I have to accept that. And so I only have 1 action point, and I can only move 1 ship. It's not that great. And you're saying, well, what are these menace tokens for? Well, every alien has a special ability. Like the turn here says a warrior race. Use 1 alien menace token at any time to add +1 to your roll for ultimate toughness or to your fight dice roll. This may result in a crushing victory. So you can spin these things to help you out. Whereas these guys, the Gnome Guild Mages, they can use a token here for Necromancy. Use 1 alien menace token to choose any soft resistance card out of the discard pile and add its strength to your alien strength total for 1 fight. Okay, so they build up enough of these. They can get cards out of the human resistance discard pile and add those to their strength, which makes them stronger. And they spend 3 tokens to automatically score a crushing victory in a fight. And a crushing victory is like if you rolled a 6, you automatically win. So you're trying to build alien menace tokens. You're trying to get your event cards, and you're trying to go from location to location, conquering, and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, in a cooperative game, 1 player 8 points, 2 player 16. You know, you just multiply it times 8. All right, so along the way, you have regular resistance, and the apocalypse thing gives you coastal resistance. Some locations will be coastal. And along the way, aliens can get space stuff, which can help them out. Like this one right here, it gives them a +1 strength. These are blue lasers. So you want to try to get space stuff as much as you can. But the humans fight back every round. Okay? And there's only so much time until the game ends where you have to get your points. So every turn there's this human resistance phase, and it's going to tell you what to do. Draw a resistance event card, which is one of these, and it's going to be bad for the aliens. Check out a location liberation, move the human tech track. When this track is down here to this laser gun and you have not gotten the amount of terror points you need to get to win the game is over. The humans win. They've discovered and built a secret ultimate weapon, and they're able to beat you. These things right here are little extra tokens. These are like allies you can get that'll help you and can play on your team. They come in pretty handy. Like the human giant robot, you can get him, put him on your landing space, and he can go around, do like that. Now let's say, I want to talk about this real quick. Let's say you sent your 4 ships to the capital city, and the humans were beating you. Every turn, like let's say they were playing these tanks, and they rolled. And let's say the tanks got a crushing victory. Well, we got a crushing victory that time. Let's say the tanks got a crushing victory. Okay, so they destroyed one of our ships. So you take it off the board. So we got to keep fighting until we beat him. Oh, they got another crushing victory. Uh-oh, so we lost another ship. And so on. Okay, so let's say these tanks just happen to whoop our butt and beat all our ships. And so you have to take your ships off the board. Well, next turn, when you get your action points, it's going to cost you an action point to put each ship back on the landing space. So your ships never really die. They just get taken off the board, and it costs you an action point to come back on your landing zone. So I'm at least going to have 3 action points to get all my ships back on there. So that's how that works. And there are a few other things we're going to go over, but on this, where I'm going to explain a few other things real quick, and then I'm going to explain how we're going to deviate from play. So this game, you have these resistance tokens as well. Now these are just different from the normal location. These things will move around the board, and they have different kind of things. And at the beginning, you got to set up so many on the boards, and they're at a location. And when you go to a location, like if I were to go here, before I even discover what location this is, I have to fight these tanks. And these tanks have a strength of 5. and I would have to beat them. And then when I beat them, I just put them back in a little pile here, and you're going to keep, you know, they're not going to be taken out of the game because you're going to constantly putting these tokens on the board, and they're going to be moving around. Then I can draw a location card and then fight my normal resistance. So that's how those things work. Now normally, like I said, you got to get however many points times 8 to how many players to win the game. But this we're going to play a little different. Each alien is going to be playing for themselves. Now they can't fight each other like in the cooperative game with the cooperative rules, which are a little bit different than the competitive. I'm sorry. They're not going to be fighting each other like in the competitive mode, which is a little different than the cooperative mode. The competitive mode does not use the human tech track and all that stuff. So what the object of this game is each alien faction is going to have to conquer their board. Once they conquer their board, they can move to the capital city location in the middle of the board. The first aliens that defeat the capital city win the game. If the humans win the game before that capital city has been conquered, then the alien faction with the most terror points wins the game. And if it just so happens to be tied, then we're going to have a roll-off. Now every time you defeat a location, you're going to take one of your little conquest markers and put it on there, and that shows that you've beaten it. Now they can be liberated, and we'll go over that step by step on the chart. But that's how I'm going to play a little bit differently than normal, okay? So I'll tell you what, we'll stop it here. We'll stop it here, pause it, and when we come back, we'll start our play. We'll go over the aliens, and we'll start our playthrough and how it plays. This is SoloGamer saying, see you then.